Just recently, NetherRealm announced that Mortal Kombat 1 would not be getting any more additional content updates. This comes less than 2 years into the life cycle of the game. Now, it's no secret that I've criticized the amount of content that Mortal Kombat 1 contains, and now I feel like I can say wholeheartedly that Mortal Kombat 1 is an unfinished and overpriced game that simply exists to sap every last penny out of the fanbase. Gameplay-wise, it's decent. You can make an argument that the base gameplay is better in Mortal Kombat 1 than it is in Mortal Kombat 11, and that's fine. It's all up to preference in that regard. However, there is just nothing to do. You have the regular campaign, towers, online, which is just 1v1s, and dogshit-ass invasions, which is one of the most cool-to-look-at game modes in Mortal Kombat, but simultaneously one of the most boring. Then there's the Fortnite item shop bullshit that costs $1 billion just to get a fucking costume or even a fatality. Don't charge for a fatality. The premium currency is dragon crystals, which are damn near impossible to earn through regular play. It takes a stupid amount of time for not that much payoff. It's predatory. And the cherry on top of all of that is that there's no crypt, a staple of Mortal Kombat since Deadly Alliance in 2002, just completely taken out in favor of gambling for useless bullshit. The crypt had been evolving for years up to this point, getting more intricate and turning into its own little game within the game, just for them to scrap it. Fuck you, Warner. That brings me to Mortal Kombat 11. This game is not known as a fan favorite the same way that X and 9 are, however, I feel as though it is still superior to Mortal Kombat 1 just based off the content experience alone. The rest of this video is going to mainly focus on Mortal Kombat 11, my opinions on it, the story, the characters, and the content. I'll probably mention Mortal Kombat 1 here and there and make small comparisons, but this video is going to solely focus on Mortal Kombat 11 as a game on its own. Without further ado, let's get into this game and start with the beginning of the story. Conquest. It's kind of funny that it's just called Story in this game instead of Conquest, because it's always been called Conquest forever, but hey, I'm playing this on medium difficulty because that'll give a good baseline, and that's how I played all the previous story modes in Mortal Kombat. The story starts off with a terrible bitrate and Shinnok being zapped while chained up. I mean, hey, I don't judge. Evil Raiden continues pleasuring Shinnok's sick fantasies and says he's doing it to protect Earthrealm before decapitating Shinnok. Shinnok is an Elder God after all, so he still survives, just in constant writhing pain. Then everyone's favorite character Kronika shows up. This brings us to Chapter 1. Chapter 1, Next of Kin, Cassie Cage. Sonya somehow looks younger than she did in the previous game, and she tells everyone that Jax has been honorably discharged after Mortal Kombat X, then promotes her daughter. To earn the promotion, you get the first fight of the story. After kicking your mom's ass, you give her a nice hug. Johnny is about to leave to go film Ninja Mime 2, but Raiden shows up saying the Netherrealm demons are still out there, so we gotta fuck up possessed Liu Kang and Kitana. They're at a cathedral, and they must get in there to kill them. It cuts to Earthrealm soldiers going into Netherrealm to kill the bad guys and shows a huge army below. Raiden activates his amulet and absolutely decimates the army. Kitana and Liu Kang notice this and let out more soldiers. This gives a great opportunity for the Earthrealmers to break in. More possessed motherfuckers show up into a huge room where Shinnok's head is just sitting up against the wall. Sonya goes to plant C4 to destroy the cathedral, the rest of the Earthrealmers break in, and Cassie gets to fight Kabal. Sonya and her team plant the bombs, and Raiden is getting real busy outside. The Netherrealm fiends find out they are cooked from the Earthrealmers breaking in. Cassie's team is trying to hold down the fort with 1 billion more soldiers coming in, then Liu Kang and Kitana show up with Cassie fighting Kitana. Sonya is guiding her team out of where she planted the bombs, but Liu Kang traps them in. Cassie naturally fights Liu Kang, then realizes that her mom is cooked. Sonya is trapped under rocks and knows she's going to die, so she activates the C4 while Cassie is understandably inconsolable. I won't lie, this is probably one of the most emotional scenes in the entire series up to this point, and I think part of it is because the facial expressions do look really fucking good in this game. The cathedral blows up as the Earthrealmers make their escape where they end up in a desert. Johnny walks up and Cassie is crying and poor Johnny goes to hug Cassie. Back in Netherrealm, everyone's favorite Kronika shows up and rebuilds the cathedral that just blew the fuck up, making Sonya's death completely pointless. Kronika explains she's the timekeeper and has to keep the different universes intact, but Raiden loves to fuck shit up. Kronika wants to restart history, but without Raiden. For the MKX video, I looked at each individual fighting style of each character. I will not be doing that here for the variations. This is for a few reasons. For one, they aren't as impactful here as they were in Mortal Kombat X. For two, you can customize your moveset in many different ways, and if I covered all the variations, then I would have to cover the moves you can customize as well, and we would just be here forever. And for three, I'm not entirely sure how to unlock the third variation for all the characters, so as I'm picking Cassie for this segment, I'm only seeing 2 variation choices, so this means for the entire roster, I'll just be going for the first variation. Anyways, without further ado, Cassie Cage. The daughter of Sonya and Johnny, a great fighter in her own right, and helped defeat Shinnok. Now she's trying to hold her own. In terms of special moves, Cassie Cage kinda has the average Cage moveset. She has a glowing kick, she has guns that she shoots, she's got the nut punch, which is called Ball Buster, and overall, at least for the Savage variation, her moves feel pretty good. She feels like a classic Mortal Kombat character, light and fun to play. The way she looks in this game is fine, if not just a little bland. Just nothing about her that's super cool or unique looking. I did not manage to beat the tower, unfortunately, as I did get railed by Skarlet.
For the second time in my life, I kicked the living shit out of an immortal. My prize? The hourglass. Now I can change history. Talk about redonkulous cosmic power. But despite what you may think about Beverly Hills girls, that is so not my style. The chosen one thing is for the Liu Kangs and Kitanas of the world. In the next timeline, all I want is to be a model soldier, to command the next generation of special forces. We were born to defend Earthrealm. Just like the heroes that inspired me. My parents. Okay, so there's one more thing I want. My mom back. Not just for me, but for Dad. He and my mom deserve a happily ever after retirement. We'll never know how different things were the last time around. But we'll be together. A family. And that's all that matters.
Chapter 2, Timequake, Kotal Khan. Now we are in Outworld, where Kotal is happy about the fact that Shao Kahn is no longer fucking up Outworld. Then all of a sudden, Kronika is doing some random time bullshit which brings back past versions of the characters into Earthrealm, and Raiden disappears. Then we go back to our world where Skarlet, Erron Black, my GOAT, Baraka, Kano, and Shao Kahn all show back up. Then classic Liu Kang, Kitana, Kung Lao, whoever the hell that is, and Raiden all show up as well, just straight revived from the dead. Kotal is rightfully a bit puzzled, and past Raiden explains that just now the events of Mortal Kombat 9 are happening. The one who I didn't recognize, I guess, is Jade, even though she looks really weird and does not look like Jade, even a little bit. Kotal is being generous with Shao Kahn and offering him assistance as an outsider, but Shao is not having it, so they fight. The Earthrealmers of the past come in to help since Kotal is getting decimated out there. And then I have to fight my GOAT, unfortunately. After the Baraka fight, Skarlet comes to get demolished. After defeating her, Jade comes and kisses Daddy Kotal, and while the lovers are having their little reunion, Erron Black shows up to fight Kotal. I put his dumbass in his place. Then, Kotal goes back to the surface where lots of fighting is still going on. He beelines to Shao Kahn for a fight. Poor guy just isn't who he used to be, because I destroyed him instantly. A huge big swarm comes down and D'Vorah shows up to help all the bad guys escape. Kotal explains to Raiden what happened, and Raiden is super surprised that he got polluted by Shinnok's amulet. Liu Kang and Kitana say goodbye for now, and the Earthrealmers head back to the realm. The bad guys are talking together, where Shao Kahn is getting the info dump, then Kronika shows up again, saying he hates how history turned out, and got these people together so that they had a better chance to win against Raiden. Back in Earthrealm, new Johnny Cage is super confused. Cassie tells Raiden what happened to him. Then Cassie tells Sonya that she had just died, which is pretty crazy. That'd be a bit of a mindfuck, you know, if you were told, hey, you from the past, but you're living right now, and so for you, it's just you right now. Yeah, you actually died today. I'd be like, what the hell? I'm sorry, that was so stupid. Jaqui calls Cassie over, saying Wuxi Academy is getting fucked up. Liu Kang and Kung Lao had to get told that they got fucked and turned into revenants, and then they head over to Wuxi Academy. Kotal Khan. Aztec warrior, Emperor of Outworld, his reign has been filled with tension and conflict, and he's considering using the same brutal tactics of Khan's past. If I'm being honest, I'm not the biggest fan ever of Kotal in this game. He just feels really, really heavy, and I know that's the point, but I guess it's just not my cup of tea. However, I do still think he has some cool special moves and entertaining combos. I just don't love the way that he feels in a general sense. His design is still super badass though, and I like the fact that he made an appearance in X and 11. The only thing that's kind of weird about that, though, is that his design actually looks damn near one-to-one of X and 11, like just the exact same, when no one else really looks exactly the same. Either way, I did manage to beat the towers, Kotal.
In her last moments, Kronika tried to tempt me. Spare her, and she would rewrite history. With Jade as my queen, I would rule an eternal Aztec empire that spanned all the realms. But Kronika never understood the Aztec heart. Our lives are cloth, woven from choice and circumstance. Pull even one thread, that cloth is torn asunder and made worthless. Now that I am tasked with keeping time, others beg me to have their histories rewritten. But as long as the hourglass is mine, I will not shape destiny in any one being's favor. History will play out as determined by its players. Let the sands fall where they may.
Chapter 3, Shaolin Monks, Liu Kang and Kung Lao. We get a bit of a duo chapter this time around where they're trying to come to grips with what happened to them in this timeline. They walk up on a monk who was killed, then find a shitload of dead monks inside of the academy. They walk up to an Armageddon conquest-ass trap and then time when they can jump through. Kung Lao has the bright idea of just stopping the shit with his hat, and he gets through easily. Scorpion shows up out of nowhere for the first time in this game, and I get to choose who to play as, and I go with Liu Kang. I embarrass Scorpion, then a big fart cloud shows up in the academy and our heroes get trapped into a cage. Then somehow all the shit opens and unlocks and Jade walks up saying they need to be alive. Time to fight Jade. I go and choose Kung Lao this time. Scorpion and Jade dip out, so Kung Lao and Liu Kang continue on. Raiden goes to visit the Elder Gods, where they all say that we need to break into Kronika's shit and get her hourglass. Raiden is worried that if time gets restored, he will be evil again. Kung Lao and Liu Kang walk up on Geras, as well as the Revenant versions of themselves. I go Liu Kang for this fight. Kung Lao defeats his Revenant, and both of them are a little skeptical on if the Revenants are actually correct about Raiden causing their deaths. Kung Lao fucking decapitates Geras and hits the Staples easy button, then Geras just straight up comes back to life. I go Kung Lao for this fight. I intentionally went half and half during this chapter to give them both some screen time. Geras says he respects the Shaolin Monks before freezing them in place. Kronika shows up again, then disappears, leaving the Shaolin Monks confused. Kronika meets up with the bad guys and says she should be able to reshape time now, and it seems that all is according to plan. Raiden meets back up with Liu Kang and Kung Lao, letting them know that, unfortunately, it is true that he led them to their deaths. And Raiden promises it will not happen again. Raiden goes back to the Special Forces, and Cassie lets them know that Sector is fucking shit up and doing the Lin Kuei cyber bullshit again, and Sub-Zero is on his way to destroy the factory, along with Scorpion, which surprises Raiden. Liu Kang. Shaolin Monk, previous champion of Earthrealm. He was an orphan taken in by the Shaolin, who then trained him to become a great fighter. Liu Kang feels as he should. Speedy, strong, light, but being so honest, he kind of feels better in this game than he has in a long time, in my opinion. He just feels so satisfying and snappy. He retains all of his classic moves he's had forever, like Bicycle Kick, Flying Dragon Kick, Fireball, the essentials. I did like him quite a bit in this game though. Design-wise, it's your typical Liu Kang look, but he has more hair down than he did before, so I guess that's cool. You know, in most of the games, I kind of criticize Liu Kang for being a bit of a default-looking character and just not being super special in a lot of ways, except being, wow, you know, he's a really good martial artist. But I don't know, maybe I'm starting to come around. I really did enjoy playing as him in this game, and for some reason, I just found him more interesting than I did before. I got low-key destroyed by Kronika this time, but it was because of this stupid fucking blue sphere that she cast, and it just absolutely gaped me.
What does it mean to wield the sands of time? To be the chosen one. It means making choices that break your heart. For the protection of all, I shared Kronika's power with the people I trust and love most. Together, we replaced the elder gods that Cetrion had betrayed, and became eternal guardians of the realms. Still, my heart longs for a simpler life. The kind one cannot have being the chosen one, let alone an elder god. What Kitana and I would not give for those simple pleasures. Perhaps in another timeline, they could be ours.
Kung Lao. Shaolin Monk and descendant of Great Kung Lao, he beat the deadly alliance of Quan Chi and Shang Tsung, and he still fights to match the greatness of his ancestors. Maybe I'm just terrible at the game, which is plausible, but Kung Lao just doesn't feel very good in this game, in my opinion. I don't know exactly what it is about it, but he just doesn't really feel right. Maybe he feels a little tankier than before, but also not quite? I don't know. He doesn't feel terrible though, still serviceable for sure, just not buttery. Kung Lao's design is iconic and still intact here. I got absolutely pounded by Noob, unfortunately.
Of course I defeated Kronika, and when I did, there was only one thing I wanted to do with the hourglass. Undo the defeat of my ancestor, the Great Kung Lao. In my timeline, the Great Kung Lao is the undisputed Mortal Kombat champion. Earthrealm never loses another tournament. For generations, his example inspires millions to join the White Lotus Society and defend Earthrealm. They in turn inspire rebels to overthrow Shao Kahn in Outworld. The realms make peace. Until, inevitably, a more powerful enemy comes along and finds Earthrealm backed by Kung Lao, immortal lord of time and warrior supreme. Beat that, Liu Kang.
Chapter 4, Fire and Ice, Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Our elderly goats are scoping out the old factory, figuring out how they're going to stop Sector from starting the shit up again. They make their way inside the factory where there's lots of death and gore everywhere, and Sub-Zero is very sad because his clan is cooked. Cyrax walks in with some new time dickhead and they activate the machine that is turning the people into cyborgs. Sub-Zero freezes the random girl and Scorpion goes to grab Cyrax in the head. Turns out, it's not some random time dickhead, it's Frost. I chose Sub-Zero for this fight. Sub-Zero defeats Frost, and I get to choose who I'm going to play as to fight Cyrax. I meant to choose Scorpion, but I guess it chose Sub-Zero for me, so I'll have to go to Scorpion for the other fights. Sub-Zero starts an attempt to save Cyrax, and Noob shows up, who I defeat with Scorpion. Cyrax calls Sub-Zero fucking old and comes to his senses. Sector shows up, and I fight him as Scorpion, of course. This was the first loss that I had all campaign. The second time around, I absolutely destroyed poor dude, though. Cyrax hates being a machine, and Sub-Zero wants to bring him back to life. Cyrax destroys wires, and it seems like he fucking dies. It cuts to Kano, Geras, and Erron Black all walking through Kronika's chamber, where Kano attempts to restore Sector. They plan on restoring Sector and making clones of him. Then modern Kano walks up and looks somehow younger than he did back in Mortal Kombat X. They plan on doing that shit and cloning Sector. Then we check on the Special Forces people where Johnny and Jaqui both are uncomfortable with what's going on. It cuts to Jax's house and he seems to be looking for something. He's trying to call Jaqui while Jaqui is trying to call him, but he's absolutely flipping his shit being alone. Kronika shows up and says that Jax didn't live out the life that she planned on him living. She tells Jax this idealized version of his life in order to convince him to help Kronika. Sub-Zero. Grandmaster of the Lin Kuei, he saved the clan from the cyber fiasco, he made amends with the Shirai Ryu clan, and he is still picking up the pieces to make his clan stronger than ever. Wow, honestly, Sub-Zero in this game just feels absolutely fantastic. He feels somehow more satisfying than ever, in my opinion. He's just so fast and buttery smooth to play, I really love it a lot. He keeps a lot of his old moves, but they feel just so good in this game, and he gets some new ones as well, like a little ice wall. Plus, I think his design is really good too. It looks modernized, but still like how Sub-Zero should look. Huge Sub-Zero enjoyer in this game. Unfortunately, I did get eviscerated by Kronika.
Once I gained the Hourglass, my first thought was to rewrite history and redeem the Lin Kuei's honor. But then I thought of Bi-Han, his life consumed by evil. Before I could redeem my clan, I had to redeem my brother. With the Hourglass, I wound back time to our childhood. I studied every second of Bi-Han's life to understand why he embraced Sector's corruption, why he reveled in the vile power given to him by Quan Chi. Armed with that knowledge, I resculpted the sands of time. I changed Bi-Han's life and unfroze his heart. Now we are comrades, not rivals. Together, as joint Grand Masters, we lead the Lin Kuei in defense of Earthrealm.
Scorpion. Grandmaster of the Shirai Ryu, he stopped at nothing in order to defeat Quan Chi as revenge for killing his family and clan. Now he tries to be a good guy and helps people who can't help themselves. As much as I've always loved Scorpion as a character, this game definitely feels like one of the weaker Scorpion inclusions we've ever gotten. First of all, yeah, he keeps a lot of old moves, but the big issue is that his spear doesn't do the regular stun anymore. Now you do an attack by default, which makes it a lot more lame in my opinion. You can still stun if you do the enhanced version of the move, but that still just fucking sucks, honestly. But don't get me wrong, he's still Scorpion, so he's solid, but they fucked up his spear, like, come on now. His design is just Scorpion but modern, so it's a fine design, whatever. I did manage to defeat Kronika's Scorpion though, so that's cool.
I made my future self a promise that I would not stay mired in the past. But once I controlled the Hourglass, I could not keep that promise. I had to restore my family. Over and over, I crafted the sands of time. Yet in every new timeline, my family's tragedy repeated. I was powerless to change it. After eons, I learned the truth. Kronika was not alone. She was one of many titans, each more powerful and ancient than the Elder Gods. It is they who conspire against us. Myself, my family, we are pawns in their game. Why? I do not know. But I will find out. And then, I will have vengeance.
Chapter 5, Jade. We're in Outworld where Kotal, Raiden, and Jade are talking. Kotal tells Kitana that she needs to go get Sheeva. Jade and Kotal ride on horses and talk a little about the past. The ground shakes beneath them, and giant weird spider-scorpion hybrids yoink the fuck out of Jade and bring her underground, where Revenant Jade comes to fight her past self. Kotal and D'Vorah are going at it, and D'Vorah starts puking maggots directly into Kotal's mouth, which Jade doesn't really like, so they fight. To save her own life, D'Vorah tells Jade that Shao Kahn is at a Tarkatan camp, so Jade heads to the camp and searches for Shao Kahn. Jade and her group get discovered, and they try their best to run away. I'd like to think that this is a meat reference. Jade keeps running and then gets stopped by Kollector. Jade kicks his ass, and then Kotal calls for the execution of the Tarkatans that are there, which Jade doesn't seem to like because a lot of them are kind of just innocent civilians. She tries to talk him down, but he isn't having it, so you have a domestic dispute. I destroyed Kotal flawlessly, so he really shouldn't have been testing me like that. Shao Kahn then walks up looking stoic as ever and says nothing. We cut to Raiden in the Elder God place where he sees that there are no Elder Gods there, and Cetrion, or whatever her name is, comes in and tells Raiden it's too late for the Elder Gods and he should blame himself. She tells him that they have Kotal hostage and Earthrealm is totally cooked. Jade. Stealth assassin, Imperial bodyguard, her parents sold her to Shao Kahn, but she never really liked him and tries to end his reign every chance she gets. I like Jade in this game. She still feels like a classic Jade in the way that she feels kind of tanky, but at the same time she's really fast and strong. It's just a shame that I suck, and I'm not really spending time memorizing and practicing anyone's moves or combos, so I never really end up doing anything really cool, but I think you could do that with Jade. And generally speaking, in none of my videos, I've, never really, locked in and really went at it for a single character and, got to know their combos, do a whole bunch of crazy stuff. I've just never really done that because it's very time consuming, and, when I make these videos, it's, not really in my best interest time-wise to do that for every single character. But anyway, I digress. Her design is kind of weird for the young version, but her Revenant version is expected.
I held the power to shape time and destiny, but I was lost. Which Khan should be restored? My lover Kotal, or my loyal friend Kitana? I heard Kotal's voice call out to me.
Follow your heart, Jade.
So I let my heart lead, and it took me to an unexpected place. A faint memory of home and my mother. I restored my parents in Edenia, building a new era without Shao Kahn. And what a happy childhood I enjoyed. But as I matured, I sensed that I was no ordinary child. Kronika's power dwelled within me, calling me to a higher purpose. When I came of age, I ascended to godhood as the protector of Edenia. Armed with the knowledge of past timelines, I challenged Shinnok and Cetrion. Without Kronika's children pitting the realms against each other, all could be at peace, and remain so under my watchful eyes.
Chapter 6, Johnny Cage. Young Jax and Jaqui are at a firing range where Jax got an armor upgrade. We get some backstory saying that the modern Jax had lost his wife last year, which is part of why he's going through it pretty bad. Young Johnny says just the crazy shit ever, which makes everyone look at him weird as hell, and modern Johnny has to see him out, which I like because it does show Johnny's character development. They take it outside where they fight about it. Old man Johnny kicks young Johnny's ass, which surely was a big hit to his ego. Young Sonya is pissed because Cassie apparently abandoned Sonya and her dumbass is lashing out on Cassie. Erron Black makes an explosive entrance and Sector and Kano try to break in directly to the operations center. Young Johnny gets grazed by a bullet, which then gives modern Johnny a scar on his face, which is crazy looking but a cool detail. Erron decides it's time to fight Johnny. After defeating him, we can see Sector and Kano did manage to break in and Cassie is hurt and Sonya is kidnapped. Johnny breaks out in a fucking tank and goes America during the Vietnam War mode, and then Sector breaks out this giant fucking warship and Johnny manages to blow it up by timing a C4 perfectly with him flying over, and then he goes to fight Sector in regular combat instead of tank versus warship. I think poor Sector needed his warship because I absolutely decimated him without getting hit once. Then Kano shows up and tries to shoot Johnny, but Johnny hits his classic nut punch move on Kano. After beating the shit out of young Kano, modern Kano shoots modern Johnny and holds young Johnny hostage. Young Kabal shows up with their cyborg minions and they take Sonya and young Johnny with them into their ship. As they're flying away, Cassie makes a run for it and almost gets herself killed, then decides to shoot the airship with a tracking bullet. Behind them, Sector is there beeping like he's gonna blow up, and Raiden shows up and manages to teleport them all out of there at the perfect time. They all get taken to the fire garden, and Raiden tells them all essentially they have to free Kotal Khan and get as many people as possible to get Kitana. Now this chapter, having that scene where Johnny Cage gets grazed by a bullet, meaning the modern one now has a scar, kind of got me thinking a little bit. Like, what really are the parameters here when it comes to the whole time travel nonsense? Because when you think about it, right, if the young Johnny getting hit by a bullet makes it so that the future, and, well, I guess modern Johnny, has a scar now, that would mean that the older Johnny has to experience what the young one experienced at some point, given the fact that he has a scar. So with that being said, wouldn't he retain those memories of going to the future to do this shit? Because assuming they're keeping this timeline intact, right? All the way up until the end of the story mode, they're keeping this intact. The whole shit doesn't just collapse in on itself. So if they're keeping this intact, doesn't that mean that all of these young people are truly themselves in the past? Meaning that whatever happens to them while they're young is something that their future self knows. They experienced that. This already happened. Like, they know what happened. I mean, I know it's kind of weird and fucky, but I don't know. It's just kind of a weird inconsistency I'm thinking about. And I don't know if it's really like something that matters all that much or if I'm looking too deep into it. But I just do think it's silly that they would have a detail like that where the scar transfers over. Yet at the same time, that doesn't mean that the modern Johnny is able to, you know, have those memories from the young one. But anyway, I digress. Johnny Cage, bio. Man, this bio just roasts his ass. He peaked at 28 with his shitty movies, and now he fights to protect Earthrealm. Johnny Cage has been a character I've enjoyed for the vast majority of the series. Just as a character, I've always loved him, and over time, I've liked his gameplay more and more. Even though, I have to say, I think that Mortal Kombat X had a better Johnny Cage version, but he's still fun here, and he has his classic moves like the Force Ball and Nut Punch. His design is super similar to Mortal Kombat X, he's just old man Johnny in the military.
This whole adventure, capital I insane. I marry Sonya? I have a kid who actually likes me? Inquiring minds want to know how the hell that happens. So I get the hourglass to show me how kicking Shinnok's ass, which I did beautifully, turned me from Hollywood megastar into global icon. So far, so good. Until I let that fame screw me up. Didn't hit rock bottom until I saw just how badly I'd let down my little girl. I finally got what old man me was saying about needing humility and maturity. But I also knew I couldn't get there without living the same life he did. So, I restored the timeline, just as it was. With one tiny little difference. Sonya's story won't end underneath the rubble of some busted-up Netherrealm castle. Because Johnny Cage flicks always have happy endings.
Chapter 7, Kitana. Kitana's attempting to convince Sheeva that Kotal is a better leader for Outworld, then Liu Kang and Kung Lao show up, letting Kitana know that Kotal has been captured, and Kitana promises Sheeva that she can get the Tarkans on Kotal's side. Where Kotal is being captured, Skarlet tells Shao Kahn that she loves Edenian blood, and that's why she wants Jade's blood particularly. The Earthrealmers hatch a plan to get the Tarkans on their side. Skarlet grabs the absolute fuck out of Jade's face, and Kitana shows up acting as a prisoner, but Skarlet sees through the facade instantly, and Kitana runs after her to fight. Liu Kang and Kung Lao walk up with a rescued Jade, and then Baraka walks up with an army of Tarkans ready to fight for Shao Kahn. After my goat gets beaten by me, Kitana manages to convince Baraka to help them save Kotal Khan so that the Tarkans can be a trusted ally of Kotal. It cuts to Kotal being in a big stadium locked up, while Shao Kahn gets a big ego boost from the crowd. Just before he smashes Kotal's head, his saviors break through the big door to come to the rescue. Kitana starts beating on Shao Kahn, and since Kollector is a huge Shao Kahn bootlicker, he comes in to defend Shao Kahn. Once Kollector is put down, Kotal gets freed and starts wrestling with Shao. Shao Kahn fucking snaps Kotal's back, and right before Shao is about to finally put down Kotal, Kitana stops him. Kitana unmasks him, then proceeds to cut his face and presumably kill him. Kotal is unfortunately now a vegetable. Baraka and Sheeva walk up and say that they're going to help rule Outworld, then Kotal says that it is now time that she becomes the Khan and rules over Outworld. This is a twist I certainly did not expect. We cut to Wuxi Academy where the Shaolin Monks and Fire and Ice duo were talking to Raiden, and they talk about Erron, who might help, so Sub-Zero and Scorpion head out. Then Jax, Jaqui, and Cassie all decide to go to Shang Tsung's island to further investigate Kronika's bullshit. Kitana. She is 10,000 years old, which is something I don't even remember about the lore, I mean holy shit. Her adopted father is Shao Kahn, but her real dad was killed by Shao Kahn, so once Kitana found that out, she has been at Shao Kahn's neck. Kitana still has her iconic fan and is still very much so an enjoyable character to play. I mean, historically, I haven't always loved her, but I've definitely always appreciated how unique her fan gimmick is, and she's probably my favorite female ninja design in this game. She still has that classic look, although it's a little updated to Mortal Kombat 11, and of course, she still has that Revenant look as well, which is more similar to Mortal Kombat X and 9.
As I gazed upon the hourglass, I knew what I must do. Restore my homeland Edenia to existence. Experiencing Edenia's verdant lands for the first time, I've never felt such joy. But that joy was short-lived. Edenia's traditions, its languages, its culture, all were completely foreign, having been forbidden to me by Shao Kahn.
I fit in with my people no better than a Tarkatan. The truth was hard. Though Edenian by blood, I am not an Edenian. I am an Outworlder. Not only that, I am Outworld's Khan. I will use ancient Edenian teachings to make myself a better sovereign. With them, I will fulfill my life's mission to better all of Outworld's people, including Edenia.
Chapter 8, Sonya Blade. Sonya wakes up in a weird prison-looking ring where the Kanos are hosting an event. Kabal learns of what happens later on where he ends up having to wear a mask, and Kano says that Sonya did it, which is just not true, so Kabal runs in to fight Sonya in this weird cage place. After kicking Kabal's ass, Kano throws Jaqui Cage in there to fight. Initially, Sonya refuses to fight, but Johnny convinces her it's the right thing to do to buy her some time for their escape. They get domestic before Cassie breaks in. Erron Black shows up and fucking shoots Johnny straight up, then fights Sonya. They're all escaping the compound when Kano shows up with a fucking minigun and shoots up Cassie, leaving Sonya to fight Kano. She beats the young Kano, but the modern Kano has Johnny at knife point. She then realizes she can shoot old Kano and the new one will be cooked, which is exactly what happened. Johnny and Sonya seem to make up, then Geras jumps down and fights Sonya. She then pins him with a forklift and fucking throws grenades at his feet to kill him. Sonya and Cassie have a cute mother-daughter moment, then it cuts to Kronika's lair. Revenant Liu Kang expresses his concern that they seem to be losing the battle. Kronika explains that there's still some souls Shang Tsung had captured a long time ago that are under his island, and they gotta recapture them. Sonya. She's an officer of the Special Forces, she was in the Mortal Kombat tournament, and is super serious and hardworking. From a design perspective, I do like the way Sonya looks. She looks like an evolved version of herself in previous games, keeping some of the skin we always see from her, but not getting too racy with it. On the flip side, her moves are very simplistic. She has a projectile that's basically a fucking ray gun, she's got counters and a move where she beats up her opponent, and one where she breaks their legs. I mean, it's a little underwhelming, but at least she does feel really snappy to play as and light. The lack of interesting moves does leave a lot to be desired, though, mid-character.
None of us saw Kronika coming, not even Raiden. But with the hourglass, I can see every terror in the realms. Any sane person would run screaming at the sight of them. It's my duty to take out these ancient, all-powerful beings. But to do that, I need an elite squad of immortal gods. Turns out, to make a new god, you've got to destroy an old one. So I hunt the oldest I can find, an omni-deity from a forgotten, unpronounceably named realm. It's the fight of my life, but I've got something this god doesn't. Family. In my past, these were the people who mattered most. Now, they're my god squad. My daughter, my brother in arms, my goddaughter. Yep, even Johnny. But only because Cassie insisted. And maybe I missed him a little. Just don't let him know that.
Chapter 9, Jax and Jaqui. This chapter starts off on a ship in the ocean where young Jax and Jaqui talk about how Jaqui is only here because Jax had hard times. They pull up to Shang Tsung's island, and man, is it decrepit. Now, Shang Tsung as well as Epstein may have not been hanging, but these monks sure are. Out of nowhere, Kabal pulls up on them for a fight. I chose Jax, and I alternated between Jax and Jaqui throughout this chapter. After defeating Kabal, Jade shows up and brings the hanging monks back to life. Time to fight Jade. They continue the search for the Well of Souls on the island and enter Goro's lair, and thank fuck Goro is dead and gone and just not here, because otherwise I probably would have blown my head off. They find a crown that's probably Kronika's, and before they can get it, Noob shows up and surrounds our heroes. You kick his ass and then go in for the crown. But before you can get it, the modern Jax shows up and shows that he's working for Kronika now because he believes it's the best to protect his daughter. Young Jax doesn't like that, so they fight. Young Jax and Jaqui get the crown and drag passed out Jax, then Cetrion shows up and says Raiden is the bad guy and they want Kronika's crown. Young Jax puts the crown on and beats Cetrion's ass. She gets pissed off about it and tries to send Jaqui into a cavern. Old Jax wakes up and leaves with Cetrion. We go back to the Kronika lair and Kronika is happy to have the crown. We go to Cassie and Raiden, who are talking to each other, basically saying time is of the essence as it always is. Jax. His ass lost both of his arms while in the line of duty, but got cool cyber upgrades, so is actually a cool cyber enhanced guy now. The way the old Jax looks is alright, I guess. Nothing too special or memorable, but I actually do really like the way that young Jax looks. Something I really like about Jax in this game is the arm heat mechanic. From what I can tell, you can charge up arm heat by taking damage quickly, doing damage quickly, and then by using the heat up move. It makes you do fire damage and also lets you use the heat shoot attack. The overall feel of Jax in this game is real heavy, which I do like. I guess I'm starting to realize I do enjoy the differences in characters, and I enjoy when they feel light, and I enjoy when they feel heavy. I think I just like the damn game feel. Overall, I actually like Jax quite a bit in this game, which is good, because I honestly remember finding him mid or in previous games.
All I wanted was to fix my life. Now I have the power to fix history. Raiden warns me, I can't fix everything. Change too much and I could lose Vera, lose Jaqui. But this power is bigger than us. If I think only about helping myself, what kind of officer am I? What kind of man? I've been lucky. My family and I have lived the American dream. But most people who look like me haven't had that chance. I owe it to them to put things right. And I'm not waiting centuries for people to get woke, when I've got the power to speed things up. I don't get it right the first time, or the second, or even the third. But eventually, I knock it out of the damn park. My family's back. The world's a better place for everyone. Turns out, you can have everything. Anyone who says you can't needs to dream bigger.
Jaqui. She joined the Special Forces even though her dad Jax didn't want her to. She carries on his legacy by being a great soldier and fighting hard to protect what she loves. Jaqui is very whatever in the design department. And honestly, in the fighting department, she's quite not good, in my opinion. I'm sure you probably could squeak out something cool, but to me, she just felt kind of stiff and not that fun. At least her moves look kind of cool, and you can see the influence from Jax.
The hourglass was there for the taking, and I could think of only one thing. Dad. Killed. Made a revenant. Resurrected. Since coming back, Dad's never forgotten the things he did for Quan Chi. I thought with the hourglass, I could fix all that. And I can. Dad won't die in that massacre. He'll never be a revenant. But turns out, what my guts told me since the start of all of this is true. Dad and Mom got together when he was in treatment. He doesn't suffer. They don't meet. And I'll never be born. And you know what? I'm good with that. I'm not just protecting Dad. I'm protecting everyone he'll risk his life to save. In my shoes, it's what he would do. It's what a Briggs does. I know you'll never hear this, but... Goodbye, Dad. I love you.
Chapter 10, Scorpion. I know, it's weird Scorpion's here again, right? Like, yeah, it was split before with Sub-Zero, and, you know, still though, there's a lot of Scorpion in this game. The chapter starts on what looks like hell, as it does, where Scorpion feels they need to get Charon to help. D'Vorah is putting bugs on Charon, and Scorpion stops that from happening. Young Scorpion then shows up and you fight him too. The old Scorpion explains to the young one that they're actually on the same team and want to see their family again, but Kronika is not going to help that. As they make up, D'Vorah shows up and fucking kills old Scorpion. Old Scorpion promises to bring Raiden to the keep. Well, I just realized I said that the old Scorpion promises to bring Raiden to the keep, but also that old Scorpion just died. And I'm assuming what I meant is that old, as in classic Scorpion, the young Scorpion, is fine and promises the old, grizzled, dead Scorpion, like the modern Scorpion. I guess I end up using old kind of interchangeable. Wow, I can't even speak. Kind of in an interchangeable way, where sometimes when I say old, I'm meaning old as in from a long time ago, and sometimes I say old as in they are old. Their age is old now. They're elderly. So sorry if that gets confusing. I hope that the actual cutscenes that you're seeing kind of help to remedy that, so it's not too confusing. But I end up kind of interchanging them in general, and while I'm reading my script, I'm not, actively watching the cutscenes, so, I'm just kind of reading what I'm saying here, and I hope that the visual is enough to understand what I mean. But anyways, we go to Sub-Zero and young Liu Kang, who are talking about the issues they got, then young Scorpion shows up. They think he's still on Kronika's side, so they fight. Scorpion then tries to explain that he's trying to get Charon to help, but Raiden still doesn't believe him and fights him. Scorpion still continues to try to convince him, then Raiden fucking beams him with the amulet crazy style, and Liu Kang calls him out on his bullshit. As a response, Raiden beams Liu Kang too and fights him, which brings us to the next chapter. Chapter 11, Raiden. After beating Liu Kang's ass, he realized that his rage is misguided and he actually doesn't mean it. It shows a strange flashback sequence of Raiden and Liu Kang fighting in different timelines across the games, which is pretty awesome. Then he puts Shinnok's amulet down as he realizes he's cooked. He helps Scorpion up and realizes that Kronika is creating timelines where Raiden betrays Liu Kang and kills him. Earthrealmers as well as Kronika show up. Kronika explains their combined power is not cool to her. Kronika then makes Liu Kang disintegrate for some reason, and then the Earth roamers froze during it. We then cut to Kronika's lair, where Kronika says Liu Kang needs to help their cause. We then cut to the Earth roamers on a ship where they get intercepted by a Kronika ship. Old Jax comes up to fight Raiden. Raiden explains that Kronika is a lying bitch, and Jax realizes his mistake and joins the Earth roamers to make things right. Geras comes to fight Raiden, and Raiden throws his ass into the sea of blood chained up. Frost's dumbass then tries to fight Raiden and gets destroyed. Since the Cyber Lin Kuei is who's attacking them and Frost commands them, disabling Frost also disables the rest of the Cyber Lin Kuei. We then go to Kronika's lair where Revenant Liu Kang is fucking with young Liu Kang. Well, not fucking, but messing with. Recent Liu Kang then shows up on the ship to fight Raiden, and Raiden chooses to save him rather than kill him. I guess by extension this makes young Liu Kang as well as the Revenant and Raiden all fuse together to create Fire God Liu Kang. He says he was then able to absorb Kronika's plan from Revenant Liu Kang. Kronika realizes she's probably fucked. Big fight sequence between the Earth roamers and all the bad guys ensues. Then Fire God Liu Kang comes down from the sky and fucking drops to the ground like a nuke, just absolutely wiping out an entire fucking army. He breaks into Kronika's lair where Kung Lao and Kitana and their Revenant counterparts show up to fight. Kronika makes the regular Kung Lao and Kitana leave by reversing time. Raiden. The one and only God of Thunder, protector of Earthrealm. He has saved Earthrealm many, many times, but he's scared of unattended consequences because of his devotion to Earthrealm. Raiden has swag, as he always does. He just looks so iconic as always, and I think he has a nice, modern, but still classic look to him. His moves are, as they pretty much always have been, having his classic teleport and flying push thing and lightning effects. I mean, not much else to say about it. I think he feels decent to play, and, he's Raiden. He's iconic. He's, who he is.
Kronika had manipulated me. In timeline after timeline, she stoked my anger and fed my arrogance, turning me against Liu Kang. My nose rubbed in my own fallibility. I was humbled. How could I be worthy to accept the mantle as keeper of time? I thought that to control time and destiny fairly, I must purge myself of all human emotion. Summoning the strongest magic, I burned away my fear and anger. All that remained was pure logic. But I learned quickly that the logical choice is often not the just choice. Unless tempered by compassion and heart, logic leads to decisions no better than those based on anger or fear. Now I am once more at time's beginning. But on this journey through history, I will infuse logic with love. In this timeline, I will finally achieve peace for the citizens of all realms.
Chapter 12, Fire God Liu Kang. As a reminder, Fire God Liu Kang is now in Kronika's lair, and now he fights the Revenant Kitana and Kung Lao, then Cetrion. Cetrion basically realizes that her mom is wrong, so she's easily defeated by Liu Kang. Cetrion seems to sacrifice herself into Kronika as an apology, and now it's finally time to fight Kronika. Raiden turns her into fucking glass and then breaks her bit by bit before aura farming a light push. Raiden shows up and says that Liu Kang is now Lord Liu Kang, and he's just Raiden, and Liu Kang is now meant to guide the realms, which takes us to Aftermath. Whoa! And quickly, I will say, the original story, just as it is right here, if it did just end here and there was never DLC, I think it was fine, I guess. I mean, it obviously sets it up for Mortal Kombat 1 to be a reboot, as it ended up being. And I mean, I don't think the story is great. I do like seeing the characters interact with each other, as I do with all Mortal Kombat stories. That's kind of like, the point is you get to see these characters interact with each other. But to be honest, I mean, I basically just watched a damn 4-hour movie for this game. It's really what it felt like, because the fights, I guess you could hypothetically, or not hypothetically, but you definitely just can turn the difficulty up. But, I feel like most players are just going to leave it at medium. They're just going to leave it at default, which is exactly what I did for this. And so I guess that made it maybe a little bit too easy. But even if it was difficult to do the fights, I just really feel like with this trilogy of games, 9, 10, and 11, and later on 1, but, we'll get there when we get there, that the whole conquest thing is kind of lost. I feel like with specifically Deception and Armageddon, they really actually tried to do something different with the conquest, In Deception, you have the open world kind of weird mode where you get to go to all of the different realms, and that was really cool. And while I did have some gripes with it in my video, I think that was a hell of a lot fucking better than what this is. I mean, now it's just okay, it's kind of an average superhero movie plot. I mean, I don't think it's bad, really. I think a lot of people kind of overly hate on it, but regardless, my point is that you know, it's really long, and it's just like this 4-hour movie where most of the time you're not actually having any gameplay. I mean, the gameplay is genuinely a very small percentage of the time. I mean, even if you're not that great, I mean, assuming it's the maximum amount of time, you're spending 5 minutes per match, which is like 20 minutes a chapter. Well, okay, I guess now that I'm thinking about it, the maximum amount of time would be a while, but generally speaking, you're probably only spending 1.5 minutes per fight, really. I mean, like, if you know what you're doing, you're not spending that long. And even at that rate, even 5 minutes per damn chapter, that's only 50 minutes. I guess now it'd be like an hour because there's 12 chapters. It would be an hour of actual gameplay. And it's probably less than that, but let's just assume that it's an hour of actual gameplay. It's still like 3 or 4 hours of cutscene. So it's still like vast majority cutscene, which is a little funny because, you know, when you're playing a video game, at least Mortal Kombat, where like it's a fighting video game, like, yeah, you're kind of here for the actual fighting, or at least for the damn gameplay, you know, like at least with Armageddon and Deception, even if it wasn't, you know, the greatest in terms of what they could have done with it, at least you're like doing something that has to do with gameplay for the majority of the campaign playthrough. And that's just not the case in these 3 modern games and as well as Mortal Kombat 1. And I don't think it'll ever be the case again. I think it'll always be like this campaign experience where, you know, you just kind of do like 4 fights, and in between those fights, there's cutscene and lore and a reason why you're fighting. I mean, there's so many fights that go on, and it's like, damn, these motherfuckers sometimes just fight for no reason, and it feels like they force fights just so that they're putting a little bit of gameplay into the story they just want to tell. And it just feels like a little silly. Like, I'm watching a movie, it's not even that good, and while I'm watching this movie, like, I have to do some what feels almost like QuickTime events, even though there isn't even any QuickTime events in this game. You know, I didn't hate it in Mortal Kombat X because it was like, you know, keep me on my toes. It almost forced me to watch the cutscene. But anyway, my point is, I just think it's a little bit silly. I wish that the actual campaigns, gameplay-wise and story-wise, were just maybe a little bit more in-depth. Like, I mean, the story itself, I think, is passable. It's not like, whoa, this is goated, but it wasn't really dog shit either. It was a story. It was one of the stories of all time, surely. But the gameplay to cinematic ratio just didn't do it for me, and I think that's a big thing, and that is something I really miss about the 3D era. Not Deadly Alliance, that game didn't have a special campaign, but, you know, specifically Armageddon and Deception, and I wish that they'd bring something like that back. I feel like it was really interesting, it was really cool, creative, and not only that, but, you know, in Mortal Kombat Deception, they had chess, but it wasn't just regular chess, it was like a special Mortal Kombat chess thing, and then Armageddon had the kart racing, and while I didn't love the kart racing, I wasn't, you know, doing the damn kart racing and going, wow, this is the best thing of all time. You know, I think I even said it's not that great, but, you know, it's there, though. Like, that's something to do. That's like a, you know, an interesting little fun thing to do other than just fighting, and I think that these 3 games, as well as Mortal Kombat 1, just kind of lost that, you know. There's no, like, cool aura, the, like, cool little secrets that you'd find just don't really exist the way that they used to, and it's kind of unfortunate. I mean, like I said, I don't hate it. I don't hate the story, and I think it serves a purpose, but, you know, I think they used to do it better. But anyways, that's what I think about the main story. Now let's get into Aftermath. As Liu Kang is doing some shit with his big hourglass time thing, Nightwolf, Shang Tsung, and Fujin show up, telling Liu Kang that he's going to destroy the hourglass and that they destroyed Kronika's crown, so history will be just straight up erased, I guess. Liu Kang stops fucking with the hourglass. The people that showed up explained that Kronika banished them to a place where they can just watch what happened but not do anything about it. So I'm not exactly sure what they can and can't do. It's getting confusing and annoying at this point, but I guess they can't actually fully reset the timeline, but they're able to send travelers into the past. They need Kronika's crown to make history correct, and the only way to get it is for them to go in the past and save the crown before Kronika even gets it. Shang Tsung proposes that they send him back in time so that he can get the crown and give it to Raiden. Raiden doesn't trust him, but Liu Kang chooses to. Fujin and Liu Kang talk about something and some kind of plan, but it's not yet revealed to the player. Liu Kang sends the 3 to go back into time to get the crown. They arrive at the point in the story where Shao Kahn is about to execute Kotal Khan. This isn't where they're actually trying to go in time, so they try to escape this battle situation. They go underground and then Kollector shows up. Chapter 13, Nightwolf. Nightwolf defeats Kollector, and Shang Tsung and Fujin fucking vaporize the beast Kollector put on them. They realize they need help so that they can continue the quest, and the only person they can even contact to get help is Sindel. They head to Earthrealm to do it. We then go to Kronika's lair where she is made aware that the three have arrived. They get the ginseng energy they need, and Fujin stays back there to secure the grotto. Nightwolf and Shang Tsung arrive to a room where Geras and some cyberling Kuei come to capture them and send them to Kronika. A fight sequence ensues. Nightwolf fights Frost. Geras, fuck me, man, Geras, fucking vagina, I don't know, dude. Geras is absolutely kicking the shit out of Shang Tsung, so Nightwolf and Fujin assist, but Nightwolf gets left alone to fight him. Nightwolf then cuts both of Geras' arms off, whatever the fuck. Which doesn't mean much, since he can instantly recover, but then Fujin just sends his ass straight into the Chaos Realm, which is funny as fuck. They head out to the Nether Realm, where the Revenants are taking their army for a walk. Nightwolf realizes that his Revenant is close, and then it cuts to all of them chained up in Shinnok's Bone Temple. Nightwolf locks in and breaks free, freeing Fujin and Shang Tsung. He fights Revenant Sindel. Revenant Nightwolf electrocutes the absolute shit out of Shang Tsung, then Nightwolf fights his Revenant counterpart. Shang Tsung is about to die, but to prevent that from happening, he absorbs Revenant Nightwolf's soul. They all then head to the Soul Chamber. Nightwolf. I guess I never really paid attention to this, but Nightwolf isn't actually a single character, which I kinda thought he was. It's a person who's chosen by the spirit to be the Nightwolf every generation, and this one is named Grey Cloud, who was chosen after he prevented the Black Dragon from stealing tribal artifacts. Nightwolf has been a character that I've historically liked. I mean, this guy has got some unmatched super aura swag. The way he looks is how he always has been, and he looks great as always. With that being said, his moves do feel a little bit underwhelming in comparison to previous entries. It's not horrible, but he feels a little bit too heavy to me, and his moves are really limited. He has his arrow shot, a couple buffs, and like a shoulder bash thing. He's fine, I guess, but just a little underwhelming.
Before I was Nightwolf, I was a fool named Grey Cloud. Born into poverty, I resented my ancestors for giving up our future to colonizers. Kano offered a way out, promising riches if I stole my tribe's most sacred relics. I was sorely tempted. But then I realized that by saving myself, I'd be surrendering the last of my people's dignity. For the first time, I defended the Matoka's pride. Kano was unimpressed. But as I lay dying, the Great Spirit came to me. By rejecting Kano, I had proven worthy of an ancient honor. The mantle of Nightwolf, legendary defender of the Matoka. Now, as I inherit Kronika's mantle, the way before me is split. The Keeper of Time cannot also be my tribe's defender. Which path do I choose? Even here, at time's beginning, the Great Spirit's wisdom guides me. She calls me to restore history. The Matoka, I must leave to another. To the next Nightwolf. Like all our sacred relics, the Nightwolf mantle belongs to the tribe. Any Matokan can prove worthy of its power. I enjoy imagining who will defend us next.
Chapter 14, Sheeva. The three guys tell Sheeva they gotta restore Sindel, and since Sheeva was Sindel's protector, she gets easily convinced that Sindel should be revived. As they're transporting Sindel's coffin, some Outworld people show up, specifically Baraka, who notices Shang Tsung and stabs him. More of the Tarkata fall into the acid pit and melts, and everyone just kinda stops and watches for a second. Then Baraka fights Sheeva. Instantly afterwards, Erron Black fights Sheeva. Jade then shows up and doesn't believe Sindel being revived is good, so Sheeva has to kick her ass too. They pull up to Kotal, who is pissed that Shang Tsung is there. Sheeva protects Shang Tsung while him and Fujin work to restore Sindel. This means you fight Kotal real quick. Kitana shows up and is not happy with what is going on, so of course Sheeva also beats her ass. Sindel is restored and is so happy to see Kitana and Sheeva, and it is revealed that she actually never killed herself. Quan Chi actually staged her death, which as far as I can remember, this is the first time that piece of lore is ever revealed, which is kind of crazy. I mean, it very well could have been previously, but I don't remember that. I mean, shit. Anyway, we go back to Kronika's lair where they are naturally worried about Sindel, of course. She sends Cetrion to Shang Tsung's island. Sheeva. She wasn't taken seriously to be the Shao Kahn's leader because she's a woman, but she won and was crowned Queen of the Shao Kahn. She leads her people to stay partnered in ruling Outworld. Stompy, stomp, stomp, crush, crush, stompy, crush, stomp, jump in, stompy, jump, jump, stomp.
A lifetime of battle prepared me to conquer Kronika, but as the Keeper of Time, I must be a creator, not a conqueror. I thought of the many sons and daughters I've lost in battle through the years. Imagined a better destiny for my kin. A history where the Shao Kahn build rather than destroy. The results were catastrophic. Comfort and ease extinguished the dragon's fire that once lit the heart of every Shokan. They became weak, corrupted fools. The timeline had to start again. War, for all its tragedies, is the forge of Shokan will. My people will fight. Many will die. But I will lead us to victory. And in the aftermath, the dragon's fire will blaze in Shokan hearts for eternity.
Chapter 15, Fujin. Logan Paul makes his second appearance, then after walking a little more, Kabal shows up for a fight along with Revenant Jade, who awakens all of the hanging monks. Fujin and Shang Tsung head into the cave to get Kronika's crown, and Fujin warns Shang Tsung that when he betrays them, they'll be ready. As they're about to grab the crown, elderly Jax shows up smoking a cigar like a badass along with Noob, who says to fight Fujin. Shang Tsung and old Jax are going at it, and Fujin stops Shang Tsung from taking Jax's soul. Fujin then fights Jax himself and says Kronika is not good, and Jax acts like Fujin is stupid when Jax is the real moron. Some corny dialogue about fighting for those you love and blah 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 whatever. Sindel gets captured by Cetrion for a moment, where Nightwolf shows up to try to help protect her. Sindel and Cetrion fight, then the three guys send her to Netherrealm, I think. Young Jax and Jaqui show up with an army, where the characters of the story let them know they are all against Kronika. Now they have officially changed the timeline since they have Kronika's crown. The characters all split up to go their separate ways for now. We then get to see what happened in Chapter 10 of the regular story, where they were trying to get Erron, then Shang Tsung and Fujin show up. After defeating them, Raiden and Liu Kang show up. Fujin and Shang Tsung try to explain what's going on, but Raiden is a dumbass like he was the first time with the amulet, and he beams Shang Tsung and Liu Kang. Fujin then fights Raiden. Raiden realizes he's a dipshit. All of the characters I was just talking about, but don't want to list off, are talking about a game plan, and Kronika shows up and lets them know that Shang Tsung made the crown, but Raiden sticks with Shang Tsung and lets Kronika know regardless if Shang Tsung wants to betray them, they will win. They end up getting in a little fight with Kronika, then Fujin puts on Kronika's crown. Shang Tsung, Fujin, and Raiden work together to send Kronika to the Netherrealm. The crown falls off of Fujin's head. It looks like Shang Tsung is about to betray them, but he surprisingly does not. Fujin. Fujin is the god of wind and Raiden's brother. They both protect Earthrealm. He's basically a goated motivational speaker, and he thinks the future is bright. I actually think Fujin is probably one of my favorite characters in this game so far. His moves, all having to do with wind, are really fun to use, feels perfectly balanced in his weight and speed, and his design is simple but nice. All around just a fun character.
As the new Keeper of Time, I was overwhelmed by my responsibilities. Who was I to design the destinies of mortals? As their protector, I had spent eons safeguarding them. But while I had grown to appreciate mortals deeply, I understood precious little about their daily existence. So I used the hourglass to live hundreds of thousands of lifetimes, to span the possibilities of realm, race, gender, and faith. Most importantly, I learned the simple joy of ending each day in the warm embrace of family. Humbled by my new wisdom, I bend the arc of history, not to my will, but to the service of those who must live it. While it is beyond my power to guarantee outcomes, I will give mortals the chance to have better, more peaceful lives.
Chapter 16, Sindel and Shao Kahn. This chapter starts off by pissing me off. Yeah, of course Shang Tsung is not actually being good. What? Are you telling me that the guy who's always been a villain and has been known to betray people, betrayed people? Huh? What? And just for a moment, when I even thought for a goddamn picosecond that they'd actually try to have any other character trait for Shang Tsung, maybe he has a good side, maybe he hasn't. Nope, fuck it, he's just comically evil. That's awesome, that's cool, that's really awesome character development. Thanks. Thank you. Anyway, he and Sindel are talking about how they want to betray everyone, and Sindel is supposed to get her own eternal empire. Sindel puts a stupid mask on to fool Kitana while they talk. Poor Kitana, man, she hugs her mom happy while Sindel is being a conniving bitch. Sindel is supposed to join Sheeva in a battle as a thanks. She goes downstairs and saves a demasked Shao Kahn. Sheeva pulls up and questions Sindel about betraying Kitana, so Sindel beats her ass. She then lies to the damn Shao Kahn that show up, saying that Sheeva is actually a bad person. Geras pops up saying that he needs their help, but they don't want to help Kronika, so they kick his ass. In fact, fucking Shao Kahn bashes Geras' head into the ground, just into nothing. In Kronika's lair, she's cooking up a plan with the Revenants to get the crown back. We then cut to Earthrealmers in the Netherrealm, who get ambushed by a whole bunch of Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn and Kitana show up, and they're here to fight Cassie and Johnny Cage. The Earthrealmers get their asses kicked and sent to a portal. We then see where other Earthrealmers, as well as Kitana, are in the Blood Sea or whatever, and Kronika is hoping that the Earthrealmers and the Outworlders kill each other. An in-game fight with Kung Lao where he gets launched into the ocean. Sindel and Shao Kahn are destroying everyone basically, then they confront Kitana and Liu Kang. Sindel and Shao Kahn win, and they say that they chained up Kitana, but they don't say Liu Kang's fate yet. Sindel is extremely power-driven, so much so that when Shao Kahn came to take Edenia, she betrayed her own husband and people just to stay in power. Now that she's with Shao Kahn, she does enjoy that lifestyle. Design-wise, Sindel in this game honestly might be my favorite outfit she's ever had. It's close to the classic outfit she used to have. It's not too insanely over-sexualized and ridiculous, but it's also not totally covered up and modest, so I think it looks pretty good. With that, her moves are also pretty enjoyable in this game. She has her hair and scream moves as she always does, and that's great. It's satisfying as hell to see her hair animations particularly.
In the beginning, Shao Kahn invaded Edenia, murdered my husband Geras, and forced me to be his bride. That's the story. But it's a lie. One I told, lest I lose the faith of my subjects, or of my daughter, Kitana. The truth, Jared was weak, destined to fail. By betraying him, I gained a better lover, and the ultimate weapon. A conqueror to unite all realms, and put them at my beck and call. Then, Kronika upended history, and I found myself confronting a future in which I had been dead for centuries. My so-called family had failed me in every way. Kitana broke my heart worst. Instead of uniting the realms, she sought to liberate them. As if the wasteland savages could ever be more than serfs. Ever the caring mother, I had to discipline my little princess. And after that, I had to discipline a titan. Now, I have defeated Kronika, outgrown Shao Kahn and Kitana. I have no more family, no more rivals, no more gods. I sit above them all, on a throne that unites all realms and all realities. Whoever you are, wherever you are, when you are before me, kneel. For I am Sindel, Empress of Time, and you exist only to serve me.
Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn is the Emperor of Outworld. He was able to expand his empire by conquest quickly until Earthrealm initiated Mortal Kombat. I just want to say, I bought the Ultimate Edition of this game, yet I'm still required to fucking buy Shao Kahn. What kind of bullshit is that? With that being said, his design is fine. Pretty classic looking, but wow, his moves feel weak and underpowered in comparison to how he used to be. Don't get me wrong, I'm not learning in depth to play each character like I said, so meta-wise, he could be amazing and goated, but overall, his aura is just kinda lacking. I spent $10 on this game with the Ultimate upgrade and $6 on Shao Kahn, so my total for this game was $16, and that, means that So that means that over a third of what I paid for was Shao Kahn, which is too much for what he really is.
I conquered history like I conquered realms, merging billions of potential timelines into a singularity. The universe has been remade in my image, and all is as it should be. The weak serve the strong. The strong compete for power, wealth, and my favor in Mortal Kombat. For centuries, the tournament's champion has gone undefeated. That champion is me! Hail the Conqueror! Hail Shao Kahn!
Chapter 17, Shang Tsung. The guys who are here to defeat Kronika and go towards the gate. Fujin does it with the crown and for some reason is tweaking out about it. Huge fight sequence ensues as it did in the original story. Revenant Liu Kang comes down and his leg breaks as he's about to attack Raiden due to Shao Kahn breaking the real Liu Kang's legs. It's revealed Kotal is dead as fuck, by the way. Raiden gets Kronika's crown, but really it's Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung puts Kronika's crown on and becomes young. Raiden doesn't fuck with that at all, but he gets straight up so long gay Bowsered. Shang Tsung and Nightwolf then fight. Raiden then pulls up again, saying that they expected him to do this, and Shang Tsung beats them both up and takes their souls. Cetrion then does what he did in the original story and absorbs her power into Kronika. The bad guys now pull up to Kronika's lair. Kronika calls her revenants to fight the Outworld bad people, and they win. Shang Tsung then turns against Shao Kahn and Sindel. Wow, what a surprise, right? I'm sure nobody thought that one coming. Duh! He beats them up and takes their souls before Kronika shows up to fight. Shang Tsung wins and begins to move the timer. Then Liu Kang shows up to the hourglass from the other timeline. You get to choose if you want to do the fight as Shang Tsung or Liu Kang, and I chose Liu Kang because that's the canon ending. Shang Tsung turns into dust and Liu Kang puts the crown on. I assume it then goes into the past, and then Liu Kang approaches past Kung Lao like the original before the one we ever knew, placing his hand on his shoulder saying that he's going to train him to do great things. I'm going to talk about Shang Tsung, but first I am going to talk about my feelings on the story. I mean, overall, just as a whole story, just as a whole everything, fuck you. It sucks. The main campaign story is fine, like I said before, but adding Aftermath was so pointless. Like, add DLC characters, that's cool. But the fact that Aftermath even happened at all just actually means fucking nothing. It means literally nothing, and I mean that. There's absolutely no universe where it changed shit. Like, oh, they didn't have Kronika's crown before. Yeah, well, that wasn't even something revealed until the DLC started, so they kind of had to have a reason that the DLC existed. But if the DLC never existed, it would have been fine. It would have went straight into Mortal Kombat 1, and it wouldn't have been a big deal. Not that I think it needs to be super consequential, it's the fact that they rehashed, essentially, what happened in the first one, but just with some of the DLC characters, and it was just kind of another basic story moment. Like, wow, Shang Tsung is here, and he's a piece of shit, and, Sindel is here, and, Shao Kahn's here, and they're also pieces of shit, and, the good guys are trying to fight them, and they want to fight them, and they get betrayed, and Raiden actually lets his guard down and tries to trust somebody. Whatever. The thing is, at the end of the day, no matter what character development happened in this story, the story that was built for Mortal Kombat 9, X, and 11, with Johnny Cage, getting better, with the fact that Sonya died at the beginning, but he still plays her, though, because her younger self is in the game, like, all of this shit, Cassie Cage existing, Jaqui existing, all of that, whatever, just literally doesn't matter at all, because guess what? Mortal Kombat 1's a full timeline reset. At the end of this game, they reset the damn timeline. So literally nothing at all matters. And the thing is, from what I remember of playing Mortal Kombat 1, it really doesn't matter. Nothing in Mortal Kombat 1 kind of goes along with Mortal Kombat 11, at least for the first few chapters, from what I remember. I only played it at launch. That was like 2 years ago. But still, that just means that this whole story, in general, didn't need to happen, and Aftermath especially just didn't need to happen. And that's kind of unfortunate, because that just means nothing to the player, and at least with Mortal Kombat 9, once the whole world was destroyed in Armageddon, they had a reason for that. Raiden had his amulet, and he was like, what the hell? We need to prevent Armageddon, basically. At least that's kind of what I remember. But anyway, the point is, like, there was a connection there. The events of Armageddon mattered, and I guess they matter in Mortal Kombat 1, because Fire God Liu Kang comes from Mortal Kombat 11, and he's now the guy. But regardless, like, are we being serious? Like, does this really matter at all? It doesn't. It just doesn't. And at least with Mortal Kombat 9 and Mortal Kombat X, they jump off of each other, and even if every single Mortal Kombat game was telling its own distinct story, and there was no connection between any of them, that'd be fine. But in my mind, the ending is just so unsatisfying, because it's like, yep, everything that just happened didn't matter at all, because we just did a full timeline reset. And at the same time, the fucking Fire God Liu Kang, at the end, he reveals that he could have went back in time himself the whole time. So why didn't he just do that and get Kronika's crown himself? Well, actually, you know what? I know why. Because they needed to have a story. They needed to charge the players for another piece of content, so they did that. And Aftermath, story-wise, even though it's like 5 chapters, I think it's like damn near as long as the campaign in actual like video runtime, which is fucking ridiculous, because nothing even happens. So anyway, I'm not going to harp on it forever. My point is, Aftermath as a DLC and with what happens in it, fucking sucks. I mean, like, I like the addition of characters. Don't get me wrong. I think it's cool. I like DLC characters in these games. I'm not really one of those people that's like, oh, the game should have every single character at launch, and they shouldn't add any DLC characters. Honestly, I don't care. They add DLC characters, that's cool. I like DLC characters. I like waiting for the rollout, and it's, whatever. That's fine. I don't really have a problem with that. I think that's cool. But You know, the actual campaign that they added just actually felt like a waste of it. Anyway, with that being said, let's continue. Shao Kahn, Shang Tsung. Soul Sorcerer, hosted Mortal Kombat in the past. He was born in Earthrealm, but he's always wanted powerful magic, so he went to Outworld where Shao Kahn gave him evil magic, and he wants to overtake Shao Kahn. Shang Tsung is cool, design is cool, moves are a little underwhelming with just the damn flaming skulls and shit, so whatever. Fine enough, I guess.
Kronika's power overwhelmed me, such that I would have been driven mad had I not spent centuries mastering the dark powers beyond the grasp of ordinary mortals. Now, I am the master of time and fate. But Kronika's fall proves that even titans can be defeated. Though my new power lets me roam infinite timelines and feast upon the souls of billions, I am vulnerable. To survive, I must return to the shadows, avoid confrontation, and work my will through the hands of others. More specifically, through the hands of my fellow titans. These monstrous beings are plied easily by appealing to their greed, vanity, and fear. Through them, every soul in eternity bends to my influence. In my new era, morality will be exposed as the illusion it is. The cunning will prosper, while the good suffer. This is the word of Shang Tsung. Have a nice day.
Now we get to the part where I'm talking about each character individually, no more story, so here we go. I'm going in roster order in case you're wondering. Of course, there's timestamps to skip along. Frost, Sub-Zero's apprentice that started hating Sub-Zero when he made peace with Scorpion. Sub-Zero banished Frost for it. Frost has always had a pretty fine design to me, just obviously a gender swap type character of Sub-Zero. In addition to that, I always felt as though her moves were also too similar, but that actually changes this time. No, her moves aren't insanely spectacular or unique, but overall, they are a bit better than they were before, I think. I really like the move where her head pops off and explodes, that's just pretty funny.
Sub-Zero dismissed me. Raiden dismissed me. They all did, even Kronika. Until I froze the smug looks off all their faces and became the Lin Kuei's new Grandmaster. The Hourglass offers even greater prospects. With it, I'll mold history to carve my name on everyone's lips. But even its power has limits. My vision can be upended by people's individual choices. Unlike Kronika, I won't let these imperfections fester until time itself must be restarted. The Lin Kuei will be my time warriors. Traveling through history, they'll get rid of those whose actions threaten my vision. From now on, no one will overlook my greatness. I'll never be dismissed again.
Joker, he's a super dangerous guy, and he's killed Robin and crippled Batgirl, but also fucked up people in the DC universe in general. I remember before this game came out, I always felt like Joker never really got to shine as a character in Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe. Back then, it was like they were just so close to making him cool and menacing and deranged, but they just couldn't do it because it was a T-rated game. This time, they don't hold back at all, and he's a lunatic who just doesn't hold back at all. His moves are all goofy, which is cool, but my main issue is that for some reason he moves tall and stiff like Jason in Mortal Kombat X, which I just don't really understand, as I've always kind of imagined Joker as fast and feral, you know, like skinny little guy that's kind of, you know, like he just did a whole bunch of cocaine, but, you know, whatever, for some reason he's slow and sluggish. Anyways, cool enough character, and a good guest addition, in my opinion.
This was my dream vacation. I saw mayhem, mutilation. It was all a gas. For a while. But these nincompoops, they didn't really get me. Not even that pretty boy, Ninja Mime. Good night, sweet prince. I'd finished just about everyone worth finishing in Earthrealm and Outworld, even lovable old Netherrealm. I was a lonely heart in search of new friends. But as luck would have it, I had just the gizmo to find them. And oh, the Hourglass spoiled me. Havoc and I are going to be bosom buddies. And what's that? My new pal knows an entire realm devoted to law and order, and he exists solely to disrupt it. Well, I say, he and I need to get busy. Meet the League of Misunderstood Maniacs. We're giving Order Realm an enema. And when we're done, who knows where we'll crash next? Maybe we'll come to your house and slip live grenades under your pillow. Maybe we'll gut your favorite pet. Or maybe we'll just break your TV right now.
Spawn. Al Simmons worked for the government, and he was a great assassin until he was executed by his own mercenaries. He then made a deal with Dark Powers to come alive again and become a Hellspawn. I'd be lying to you if I said I was even a little bit familiar with Spawn, because I'm not. Haven't seen any media attached to him before, but I know some people were happy at his inclusion. I'm also happy with it because, wow, he's actually really fun. Like, really fun to play. I don't know if he's just easy to pick up, but I felt like I was absolutely decimating my opponents. Really fun, and he just has a lot of aura on his own.
I'd snuffed out every devil in hell until Netherrealm invaders showed up to piss me off. It would have cost a lot of power fighting them alone. But they were being hunted by my new friends. Call them Fire and Ice. They argue constantly, which is why I usually like to roll solo. But when it comes to killing demonic assholes, these guys don't flinch. I can get along with that. The Grandmasters tipped me off to Kronika. Said she was resurrecting some Netherrealm god named Shinnok. But that's not happening on my watch. Kronika's just as much a devil as Malbosia. Both make promises, both tell lies. Both underestimate me. That's why I'll make a new hell for them, where they can burn together for eternity. The Netherrealm's locked down, but there's still 8 hells left to purge. It's time to bring up the reserves. I made choices in my life that sealed my fate. I'm beyond redemption. But even the damned are capable of doing some good. So all you devils out there, making false promises and spewing lies, we're coming, and you don't have a chance in hell.
Noob Saibot. When he was alive, he was Sub-Zero until Scorpion murdered him. Quan Chi made him his slave and gave him dark powers, but now Quan Chi is dead and Noob is free. Noob looks okay in this game, just kind of a dark guy in a hood, almost like a damn Assassin's Creed character. His moves, though, feel fantastic, honestly, so very fast and snappy, and seeing the shadow attacks hit is just so insanely satisfying. I don't remember exactly how I felt about Noob in previous games, but I don't ever really remember enjoying him this much.
Kronika said I would lead the new era's deadliest clan, but she made such promises to many, she could never keep them all. So I betrayed her before she could betray me. When Kronika's hands fused with my shadows, my ambitions grew. Why be a ruler of mortals when I could rule destiny itself? Mortals resisted, but could not stop my blanketing history in cold, endless night. All is dark. All are shadows. I have had many names. Now I am become death, destroyer of worlds.
Baraka. He's the war chief of the Tarkans that are seen as less than people in that world. He serves Shao Kahn to make sure his people are all good. Where do I even begin? Every single game where Baraka is able to bare his terrifyingly dominant and alluring teeth makes my member throb and pulsate. His huge claws going deep into his opponents, clearing the floor with anybody in his way. Oh, how I wish there was a skin that would show off his little Baraka.
Kronika's power was mine to share with the tribe. In the new timeline I built, Tarkatans would be slaves no more. We would rule. We easily took Adelia, then Outworld and the Netherrealm. Last, we challenged Earthrealm in Mortal Kombat. Within 1,000 years, all realms fell to Tarkatan blades, and we have not run out of meat since!
Kano. He's the leader of the Black Dragon, and he's a very powerful arms dealer, but he has no morals and works only for money. I really enjoy Kano's design in this game, even though the mutton chop does really kind of make him look like Jay Schlatt. However, his moves do nothing to really wow me. It's kind of the same as it's always been, and for some reason they nerfed the Kano ball, so the move is way easier to pull off, but simultaneously, it sucks. Like, really bad. It does, like, no damage. I feel like it used to do more, but anyway. I mean, he's a fine character, but I don't love him here.
I'd cut a lot of deals, but none spiffier than this. I spared Kronika, and she gave up the hourglass. The power to shape time and history to my liking? Oh, fuck yeah. I set it up so that everything came up aces. Every desire, every wish, every whim I ever had, done and done. But I realized pretty quick I'd suck the fun out of things. Without a fight, winning was worthless. Nah, the fun wasn't in the having. It was in the getting. So, I changed things up one more time. Now, what I want is always just out of reach. I gotta earn it. I score lots of wins, but not always. And when I do win, it's something to savor.
Kabal, part of the Black Dragon, and he's super fast and greedy. He was a cop until Kano came along and had him sell out his department for money. Kabal's design kind of falls in line with the other designs in this game, which makes me want to touch on that a little. It's hard to describe, but the majority of the characters in this game all look similar to an extent that they belong together. Don't get me wrong, they're all distinguishable, but in my mind they all kind of have this gold glossy look, if that makes sense. Anyways, Kabal looks decent, but his moveset feels really lacking. He has a projectile, his dash, and a hook slam. That's literally it for the main variation. Not great in my opinion.
Shit sounds cool, right? The power to control time, immortality, destiny. Well, let me tell you, this job sucks. There's no pay, no weekends, and your shift lasts forever. The only smart play is to turn back time and give it back to Kronika. Bet your ass she's grateful, too. I didn't ask her for much. Just a chance to take out anyone who's ever tried to burn me. Black Dragon was always more of a gig than a brotherhood anyway. Now I get to live large, enjoying the simple life of a well-to-do family man. And if Shao Kahn or Shinnok ever come knocking, my family and I'll take them down. Just like I took down Shinnok's mom.
Robocop. Alex Murphy was a cop murdered by a gang. OCP Tech, whatever that is, turned him into Robocop, which is a robot cop. I know, really gripping, right? I'm not personally familiar at all with Robocop. Like, I've just never seen a Robocop movie or played a Robocop game. I know really nothing about him at all. But he does look cool, I guess. His moves are honestly hilarious to me. The way his weapons just blast away your opponents instantly is so funny. I mean, that's all his special moves are, is just, you know, weapons that shoot or whatever, but I still do like it.
OCP built me to serve the public trust, protect the innocent, and uphold the law. So when I found Kano dealing arms to old Detroit's gangs, I had one duty: apprehend him. I never thought the chase would take me to a different universe, let alone end in a fight with Kano's protector, Kronika. And when Kronika went down, something unexpected happened. Her power washed over me, sweeping away the limits my designers had put on my programming. For the first time, I saw the depth of OCP's corruption. It wasn't just a couple of greedy executives. It was the whole damned company. OCP is making a killing playing both sides, selling to cops and criminals. When I get home, I am bringing them to justice. It will not be fast or easy. OCP has too much cash and too much firepower for me to clean things up alone. It is a good thing this will be an interagency effort. Welcome to the future of law enforcement.
Skarlet. Blood Mage and Imperial bodyguard, she was a starving wretch before Shao Kahn came along. She was turned into a vampire by him basically and serves him well. The legendary character that basically existed from fan speculation comes back in this game after, not appearing in X, but did appear in 9. Damn, I can't speak sometimes, you know that? And she kind of makes me think of Natara. She has this vampiric, blood-focused character theme going on that just makes me think of her. This isn't a bad thing or anything like that, just a thought. I think she's fine, I guess.
Of all his daughters, Shao Kahn made me deadliest. He pulled me from the gutter, bound me to the blood code, made me fight for recognition. Perhaps he will commend me when I bind the blood code to the sands of time. Now a blood god, I demand more than Shao Kahn's recognition. I demand worship. I'll have temples, ministers, acolytes, prayers, and sacrifices. Rivers of blood shed in my name, purging heretics who dare to reject me. How proud Shao Kahn is now. How proud and how obedient. For the only thing better than my master's recognition is to make him beg for mine. All will worship me, or there will be blood.
Erron Black. He was a great shot in Texas, but wanted to go to Outworld for the Black Dragon. He loved it so much that he fully moved out to Outworld. I'm happy that Erron Black returned from MKX. He was one I really liked back then. His cowboy design is still cool, and his main attack is also pretty cool. Basically, he pulls out his rifle and uses it in different ways, mainly just shooting and reloading, but it's still really fun and also kind of funny to use. I love standing in the corner and just spamming the fuck out of it.
Truth be told, it surprised me, putting down Kronika. Not bad for a scrawny kid from Wicket. Now that it's done, now what? I don't cotton to being Lord of Time, stuck on some island at the edge of nowhere. No, Erron Black likes being in the thick of it. Seems to me time ought to stay all mashed up. It's been a hell of a ride. Gotta keep these thrills coming. Which means making sure no one gets a chance to screw this up. Once the hourglass gets dumped in the sea of blood, ain't no one ever shaping history again. What happens next? Hell if I know. And that's just the way I like it.
Devora. She's chitin, which is a swarm of insects that are a hive mind. So like Ermac if he was less cool. She has served many people, but she only cares about the swarm and will do whatever it takes to make sure that the hive survives. She was honestly one of my favorite back in Mortal Kombat X. I love how vile and disgusting she looks and how her moves are. In this game, I still like how it looks, but not so much how it plays. I'm sure I'll just have to learn her a little bit considering how many times she has kicked my ass, but I'm a little too slow for that sadly, so I kinda just got absolutely destroyed.
Vermin. That is the humanoid word for the chitin and our fellow insectoids. But with the hourglass, this one can review history and give lie to that myth. Humanoids live to kill. Without a common enemy to fight, they divide, destroy each other. Insectoids live to survive. No conflicts divide us. We build upon each other. Kin does not kill kin. So tell this one, who are the vermin? Time for this one to write a more just history. One in which pesky humanoids finally take the places they deserve, scrambling beneath our feet.
Rambo. John Rambo is a Special Forces soldier who has Vietnam PTSD. He's super tough and goes into bad situations by himself. Similar to Robocop and Spawn, I've never ever consumed any Rambo content before. I'm aware of him, of course, but have just never really known what he's actually about. Yeah, he looks like an 80s action hero. His moves are kind of funny, especially the army crawl. I also did a brutality on accident where he walks into a portal at the end, whatever the hell that means.
I didn't ask for this war, but once it started, I had to finish it. Hands down, Kronika was the toughest enemy I ever faced. All my tactics, my training meant nothing against a god like her. In the end, it was a battle of wills. It never occurred to me that for winning, I'd get her hourglass. At first, I hoped to right every wrong in history. But then I figured out doing it meant I'd have to decide the fates of billions. Picking who lives and who dies for eternity? It was going to kill my soul. I'd end up no better than those old men who sent us off to war, not giving a shit about what would happen. And that's not the man I want to be. It's time to walk away, for good this time, leaving the pain and the ugliness behind. After all I've been through, I've earned a little peace.
The Terminator. Specifically, T-800 from Terminator Dark Fate is a cyborg assassin from a post-apocalyptic future. He's damn near invincible and is super smart and strong. Wow, the Terminator, something I've actually seen. Just the first one though, like a decade ago, so I don't even remember it that well, but anyway. It is really awesome to me that we have Arnold Schwarzenegger to have his likeness in the game, but it's not awesome that he didn't voice himself. I mean, what the hell is that? We have him himself, but not his damn voice? From what I've gathered, Terminator is a strong character in this game, but I really do suck at him, and I don't really enjoy very much how slow and stiff he feels.
It was an epic accident that brought the Terminator here, rather than to his own Earth's past. But it didn't take long for him to adapt. He figured that terminating Kronika and taking her hourglass gave him the best chance at achieving his mission objective: destroying humanity so that the machines prevail. Turns out the hourglass wasn't the ultimate weapon. No matter how many times the Terminator rebooted history, the war between humans and the machines always ended the same, with their mutual destruction. He realized this war was a losing game. The only way to win was not to play. So the Terminator used the hourglass to build a future where machines and humans don't fight. They cooperate. The Terminator knew that to preserve this future, no one else could learn about the hourglass. The information stored in his machine mind was dangerous. It had to be eliminated. That's why the Terminator threw himself into the infinite depths of the Sea of Blood. No one would ever find him, or unlock the hourglass's secrets. If you could ask him about it, he'd tell you he made the only logical choice. But in my book, that machine's a hero.
Geras, whatever, he's not even real, because Kronika made him and he just serves her. He literally can't die, because every time he does, he's just reborn and becomes more powerful. Geras, whatever, has a real underwhelming design to me. I can't really put my finger on it. I just don't really like the way he looks. Maybe it reminds me of Knack too much, you know, the game on the PS4. Maybe I just don't like him as a character because he doesn't really have a personality. But anyways, I know in a lot of this footage I'm getting my ass kicked, but I honestly don't know what the fuck they're feeding the AI Liu Kang in this game. But regardless, I don't really like his moves either. Not a good original character for this game.
Kronika's endless cycle of rewinding and restarting timelines had destroyed my spirit. But she refused to grant me either freedom or death. So I took her power to do what she could not. I would create one final, perfect timeline. Then, I would rest. But the task was more difficult than I imagined. Mortals refused to follow the paths I set for them. Timeline after timeline, my frustration grew. I began to understand why Kronika had been driven to madness. Perhaps mortals do not need a Lord of Time. I will sacrifice my body and my mantle to re-sculpt the sands so that the hourglass runs itself. And for the first time in all eternity, I can rest in peace.
Kollector. He collects tributes for Outworld. He was poor, but Shao Kahn liked him because of how greedy he was. He's now rich and will do anything to stay that way. I don't know if I've ever felt that a character was more pointless than Kollector is to me. I do really suck ass at him, but I don't know if I can fully blame myself for the way I feel about him. He instantly felt uncomfortable to play, and he has an underwhelming design and even more underwhelming moves.
Kronika made big promises. Not big enough, though, for what my people suffered. Our hands built the Colosseum, the palace. We were slaves. We served or we died. Every coin I took from Shao Kahn's tributes, Outworld owed my people. Not that my Naknadan brothers and sisters joined arms to help me, no. Every great treasure I have won myself. I do not wait for handouts. I take what I desire. That is why I am now Khan. Netherrealm, Earthrealm, Order Realm, Chaos Realm. I want them all. And I will take them by right of Mortal Kombat.
Mileena. She's a clone of Kitana that's fused with Tarkatan blood. Mileena knows what happens to her in Mortal Kombat X, so she's pissed off and wants to see them dead. Yeah, Mileena has a super duper forgettable design in this game. It's not like it's terrible or anything, but I don't know, it's just kind of plain. Her moves are also okay, I guess. I mean, I'm getting towards the end here, and it does make it hard to say new things about each and every character. I just think Mileena's fine.
Hourglass 1. My thoughts turned toward my sister. I was born from her flesh. We shared the same blood. I wanted us to be family. But she wanted me dead. I was not her twin. I was a monstrosity. How horrified she would be to know that I've used Kronika's power to take her place. Under my parents' adoring gaze, I rule the realms as Conum of Time. My sister's friends, her lover, they cherish me. Kitana is forgotten, her name buried in the sands of history. Yet even I can't reign forever. Like all queens, I need an heir. Someone to carry on in my name and see my will done across the eons. Unlike my sister, my daughter regards me with awe and wonder. To her, I am no abomination. I am perfection.
Cetrion. She's the guardian of life and the goddess of virtue. She banished Shinnok when he was acting a fool. She helps warriors who are good. For some reason, her bio doesn't mention the fact that she's on Kronika's side, which is weird as fuck because Kronika is just so obviously cartoonishly evil. I feel similar to her design-wise as I do Geras, but also I do like her design a little bit more. Not only that, but she actually feels completely horrible in this game. I mean, really shit, I hate how she feels, but she also feels like she has a weird low-range problem. I can use an attack damn near point blank and it just won't connect. I actually kind of hate her.
Though I first denied their truth, eventually I realized the wisdom of Liu Kang's words. There is virtue greater than my mother's desired balance. Good must be allowed to flourish. But no matter how I reshaped time, rooting out evil proved impossible. Though freed from want, mortals still killed each other. Divided by realm and race, they easily justified their hate. Hubris, greed, envy. To appreciate my gifts, mortal sins must be cleansed. Which is why I baptize the realms with fire. For eons, mortals will battle evil, eventually achieving victory. And when they emerge from the darkness, they will be humbled. eager to embrace the light.
Rain. Rain grew up as an orphan and joined Edenia's army. He's very smart and the bastard son of Edenia's protector. He's a half-god that fights first place in Edenia. Luckily, I get to end this roster with a great character. His design is a modern spin on the classic. Rain is a fan favorite and it's not hard to see why. He's really fun to play as and all of the water moves are just fun and satisfying. I love Rain in this game and I'm happy to end off on him.
Kronika was dead, the hourglass taken, and Edenia's future mine to command. I had obtained all I had wanted. All except that which I had wanted most, to know the true story of my parentage. That I was a bastard I knew, born of an illicit affair between the Edenian god Argus and a mortal woman, Amara. But what I didn't know, until the hourglass showed me, was that I and my mother were both victims. She hadn't abandoned me. Thanks to my father's lies, she had thought me stillborn. I was stolen away and left to rot among peasants, while my mother died from grief. Argus hid his scandal and his shame by killing the one person who ever loved me. For that, he will die. As will his sons, Taven and Dagon. His beloved wife Delia, she I will let live. Let her heart break as my mother's did, as she weeps over her children's corpses.
So what does this mean? I mean, obviously, I don't love every single character in this game. Of course, I don't love the story, and the game isn't perfect, but with that being said, I think there's still a lot of fun to be had here. The game is super cheap too, it's just about $10 for the Ultimate Edition on sale, unless you fucking want Shao Kahn, and I would say it's definitely worth the time and money to play it. With that also being said, it is the weakest of this trilogy of games, that being 9X and 11. To me, 9 and X are both in my top 3 of all time Mortal Kombat games, so it's a little bit of a high bar. But it's still a competent, modern Mortal Kombat game with lots of stuff to do and enjoy. With that being said though, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 7 out of 10. It could be better if the story wasn't so fucky and then they just ended it with a full reset, and if some of the characters were more consistently enjoyable and the customization system wasn't so bloated and unfortunate. But regardless, I still feel that this game is better than Mortal Kombat 1, not just for, the characters and the gameplay and all of that, but really, mainly, the actual content in this game, the actual stuff that you can do, because it's not just the main story. There's the story, there's the towers, there's the Tower of Time. The online modes, there's multiple different online modes, but the big thing, the big thing that for me puts it above is the crypt. And the crypt has, bonus stuff, it has little secrets, it has this and that and the third, but that will be covered in another video. That will be covered in a video that's coming out in January, where I basically explore the crypt and talk about the crypt and talk about different things, almost like a podcast, but I'm exploring the crypt while doing it. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do for the crypt in the future, but that's the big thing to me that really separates Mortal Kombat 1 from the rest of the games, is the fact that there's no crypt, and not only that, it feels like that game just has actually nothing to do, and especially not at full price. Anyways, if you're watching this on the day it was uploaded or nearby to it, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. This offer is only valid for the 2025 season, so if you happen to be watching this in any future year and it's near to Christmas or the New Year, I don't wish you a happy holiday season. Anyways, thank you for watching and have a good day.